Did you know our ancestors figured out how to keep food cold in the desert, light their homes with swamp reeds, or even clean their clothes with ash from the fire? When we think about history, it's easy to imagine people living in a world of constant struggle. But the truth is, they were brilliant problem solvers. They developed clever, practical techniques that helped them survive, and many of them are so effective they still work today. So in this guide, we're diving into 10 everyday ancient techniques that will blow your mind. From fire making to food storage, from water purification to homemade soap, let's rediscover the hacks that kept entire civilizations alive. Each section will not only describe the technique, but also who used it, where it appeared, and why it mattered, and how it connects to our modern world. By the end, you will see that our ancestors weren't primitive, they were ingenious engineers of survival. Bow drill fire starting. The bow drill is one of humanity's oldest multi-purpose tools. Archaeologists have found evidence of bow drills as far back as 4000 BCE in ancient Egypt, where they were used not only to start fires, but also to drill holes in beads and wood. Indigenous cultures across North America relied on them, and so did Viking explorers braving harsh northern winters. The genius of the bow drill is mechanical advantage. By wrapping a string around a spindle and using a bow to push back and forth, you can rotate the spindle rapidly and evenly, something that almost impossible by hand. As the spindles spin against the hearth board, it grinds wood particles into dust. With enough speed, that dust heats up and it glows red. An ember is born. This ember could mean life or death. Fire wasn't just warmth, it was light, cooked food, protection from predators, and the center of community life. In fact, some cultures considered fire starting kits sacred. The fire drill even influenced other inventions. The same principle of spinning with a bow later evolved into early lathes and eventually the drills we use today. Fun fact, in Norse mythology, fire was a gift from the gods, but in everyday reality, Vikings used the bow to summon it on demand. And in some Native American tribes, boys had to master the bow drill as a rite of passage into adulthood. Soapstone cooking. Imagine cooking without metal pots. That was reality for countless ancient people. Enter soapstone, a soft rock easy to carve, yet capable of absorbing and retaining mass amounts of heat. Archaeologists have uncovered soapstone cookwares in Scandinavia, the Mediterranean, and among Native American tribes, especially in the Arctic, where metal was rare. Vikings carved soapstone cauldrons that could easily be set directly into a fire without cracking. Native American tribes heated soapstone slabs and dropped them into water held in wooden troughs or skin bags to boil soup and stews. Soapstone could even bake bread, as its heat replaced slowly and evenly like today's pizza stones. This wasn't just convenience, it was survival. Soapstone acted as an ancient thermal battery. In cold climates, a chunk of heated soapstone could be wrapped and placed in a bed as a primitive hot water bottle. It could warm a house long after the fire had died. Even today, soapstone is prized as countertops, stoves, and cooking tools. What we think of as luxury material was, for thousands of years, the heart of practical cooking and heating. Zier pot, clay pot fridges. In scorching deserts, how do you stop food from spoiling without ice or electricity? Ancient ingenuity created the Zier pot, or pot-in-pot refrigerator. Used in the Middle East, North Africa, and India for centuries, this simple invention uses the power of evaporation. Here's how it works. A small clay pot is placed inside a larger one, and the gap is filled with wet sand. A cloth, also damp, is placed on top. As the water in the sand evaporates, it cools the inner pot, sometimes by as much as 20 to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. It preserved vegetables, kept water refreshing, and even saved lives by protecting medicines in hot climates. The Zier pot is still in use today. In rural Sudan, it allows family to store tomatoes and okra for weeks instead of days. In India, it was promoted as an affordable solution for farmers with no access to refrigeration. Some developing projects continue to encourage its uses for a sustainable, electricity-free cooling method. Think about that. An invention so simple it uses nothing more than clay, water, and sand. Yet, it solves the problem that billions of people still face today. Smoking and drying meat or fish. Before refrigeration, survival depended on food preservation. Smoking and drying were the universal answer. From Native American tribes drying bison into jerky, to Vikings hanging fish in salty sea winds, to the Chinese building elaborate smokehouses. This technique spanned continents. Smoke does more than just add flavor. The process dries the meat, reducing moisture that bacteria needs to grow. The compound in smoke act as natural preservatives. Dried or smoked meat could last for months, crucial for nomadic groups and seafarers. The Mongols carried dried meat and curds across Asia during their conquests. Polynesian voyagers stored smoked fish on long canoe journeys. Medieval Europeans built smokehouses attached to homes, ensuring a steady winter supply of pork or fish. In a way, smoking was the original meal prep. Instead of cooking fresh each day, families invested time in preserving food when it was abundant, guaranteeing survival when it was scarce. Salt curing. Salt has been called white gold. It was so valuable in the Roman Empire that soldiers were sometimes paid in salt, the origin of the word salary. But its most important role was in food preservation. By packing meat or fish in salt, people discovered that moisture was drawn out, leaving bacteria with nowhere to thrive. This simple process transformed food from perishable to long-lasting. Sailors carried barrels of salt across the oceans. Farmers turned pork into hams and bacon. Entire cuisines grew out of necessity. Think of prosciutto in Italy or bacalhau in Spain. Salt wasn't used just for culinary, it was strategic. Control of salt mines and trade routes meant power. Wars were fought over salt, and cities were built near it. Charcoal sand filtration. Water is life, but clean water was never guaranteed. Ancient people discovered a simple solution: filters made of sand, gravel, and charcoal. The principle was brilliant. Gravel catches large debris, sand filters finer particles, and charcoal, with its porous surfaces, absorb odors, colors, and even some harmful chemicals. Evidence of sand filtration dates back to ancient Egypt, where drawings depict water poured through these porous clay pots filled with sand. In India, ancient texts describe filtering water through layers of gravel and charcoal. The Mayans even built complex filtration systems with crystalline minerals to improve their water quality. What's amazing is how modern this seems. Many homes' water filters today use activated charcoal. Treatment plants employ sand beds for filtration. It's a timeless solution. Nature itself providing the tools to clean what sustains us. Storing water in copper vessels. In Ayurvedic tradition in India, drinking water stored in copper overnight is known as tamrahal. This practice, thousands of years old, wasn't superstition. It worked. Copper had antimicrobial properties that kill harmful microbes, including bacteria like E. coli. Similar practices appear in Egypt and Babylon, where copper vessels were common. Sailors once threw copper coins into barrels of water to keep it from going bad on voyages. Even Hippocrates, the father of medicine, recommended copper for sterilizing wounds and purifying water. Modern science has confirmed its truth. Storing water in copper vessels can reduce dangerous microbes. While stainless steel and glass dominate today, the copper pot is a reminder that ancient people had effective health hacks long before microscopes. Solar water disinfection. Sunlight has always been a source of light, but did you know it can also disinfect water? Ancient communities noticed that water left in clear containers in the sun was safer to drink. Today, scientists call it SODIS, solar disinfection. The process is simple. Fill a clear bottle with water and leave it in the direct sunlight for about 6 hours. UV rays and heat together kill pathogens. Modern studies show this method can eliminate bacteria, viruses, and parasites. While ancient users didn't know about the ultraviolet light, they observed the results. In some Andean villages, water was traditionally left in glass or clay jars on rooftops. This practice remains relevant. The World Health Organization endorses SODIS as a low-cost purification method in areas without infrastructure. A technique thousands of years old is still saving lives today. Rushlights and tallow candles. Before wax candles, many homes were lit by rushlights. In medieval Europe, families gathered rushes, which are reeds from marshes. They peeled them, dried them, and dipped them into melted animal fat or tallow. Once lit, a rushlight burned for 10 to 20 minutes, offering a cheap, accessible light. They weren't luxurious. Rushlights smoked, smelled, and dripped, but they were better than darkness. Wealthier homes used tallow or beeswax candles, but rushlights were the lighting of common folk. Ash for cleaning. Imagine scrubbing your dishes with ashes. For ancient people, that was normal. When water mixes with wood ash, it forms alkaline lye, a powerful cleaning agent. Long before bottled soap, it was the go-to cleaner. Pioneers used ash lye to wash clothes white. Romans mixed ash with animal fat to create some of the earliest true soaps. Even teeth were brushed with powdered ash, which acted as an abrasive. Ash paste degreased cooking pots, removed stains, and sanitized tools. What seems like waste, yesterday's fire's remains, became tomorrow's cleaning supply. This recycling mindset wasn't optional, it was survival. Nothing was wasted, not even ashes. Modern soap making still relies on the same chemistry, lye mixed with oils. Your bar of soap owes its existence to the same principles people discovered by accident when rainwater dripped through fireplace ash into animal fat thousands of years ago. Our ancestors weren't primitive, they were practical geniuses. From fire drills to clay pot fridges, from copper water jugs to soap made from ashes, these techniques are reminders that survival doesn't always require modern technology. They prove with observation, patience, and creativity, humans have always found ways to thrive. Today, as we face questions of sustainability and resilience, maybe the smartest thing we can do is to look back and learn again from the oldest tricks in the book.